What's up? What's going on, everyone? It's Carlos back again with the Beer Experience, and today I have a very special guest. This here is Basilio Lopez, and I, I met Basilio because him and I are both in two communities, and they are the what do you call it? The beer community, the craft beer community, and also I've also seen him over on the graffiti side of things on Facebook and stuff like that. So I reached out to him and I wanted to, just fucking talk to him and, just get his experience on beer and also graffiti. So, Basilio, you want to go ahead and introduce yourself real quick?
So my name is Basilio Lopez. I was born and raised in San Bernardino, California. I've lived everywhere from Oregon, California, Las Vegas. I'm in Arizona now. Most of my graffiti time, well, all of it was in California in the 90s and stuff like that, in early 2000s. But yeah, it's me. I'm El Hopo1 on Instagram, and then Basilio on Facebook.
Okay, right on, right on. Yeah, what I saw you on Facebook, and I was like, man, I wonder, I always saw your picture, and you had like that, that dark beer, and in the glass and stuff like that. I thought you had like a stout or a porter or something like that, and you were like sipping on it or something. I was like, and I wanted to reach out to someone to talk about, graffiti stories and okay, yeah, and also craft beer. So anyway, what are you drinking there, Basilio?
So right now I'm drinking the We're Out of Ideas Triple Hazy IPA by Tombstone. So out here in Arizona, like I guess what you would consider the best, the most popular breweries are Wren House, The Shop, and probably either Dark Sky or Tombstone. And depending on what you want, if you want more sours, wild ales and stuff like that, you're going to go more towards Dark Sky, which is up in Flagstaff. But Tombstone's down in Tombstone, and those motherfuckers are killing it. Like, they're killing it. They're stouts, they're triple IPAs, they're IPAs. I mean, they're phenomenal. They're on par with, like, your Monkishes and shit like that. Like, they kill it. I trust me, they absolutely kill it. They're one of the ones that when they put out a new beer, a new IPA, I'm right there. I go grab it every time. I don't even hesitate.
Yeah, how much? Let's say a 4-pack. How much is that running? Of like fucking.
So honestly, depending on which one they put out, because they'll put out one batch that's like a single, a double, and a triple at one time. So, it's going to progress in price as the alcohol volume goes up higher. So your singles probably somewhere around $14.99. A double is probably about 17, and then your triple is going to be about 19 to 20, depending on where you go.
Yeah.
But you know what? We have in here in Arizona, I don't know if anybody who's going to watch this is in Arizona, they'll know. Downtown, you have a place called King's Fine Wine and Beer. Over by me, you have Cellars. You have a place called Quick Stop. You have One Stop. You have all these little perfect craft beer shops that are run by people who love craft beer, and they don't rip you off. So they're selling you pretty much almost at the price point. They're getting them. They cut these crazy old deals and shit like that. The guy at King's, he puts out these deals that are just you're like, how do you even make money off this shit? Like, I don't even know how they do it, but it's worth it because if you went to Fry's or grocery stores or whatever, Whole Foods, they're gonna rip you off. They don't give a shit about you. Yeah. But these places, they actually take care of you.
Okay. Yeah, you know what? I've actually heard a lot of good things about Tombstone. And it's NSE Beer Adventure. I don't know if you know who she is. She's in the beer community also. I had her on the show, and I think you guys follow each other, or she follows you, or vice versa, something like that, right? She was telling me that Tombstone is, probably one of the best breweries out there. But
hands down.
Yeah, you know what? I also know that Wren House is really good, and Marcus Brewery 602. I did a what is that? Right there?
That's my Wren House hat.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, so Brewery 602, Marcus, him and I did an exchange, and Wren House was the Hop Chowder was one of the ones that he sent me, and to me, I mean, that one right there, it was
Hop Chowder's Goldwater.
And Wren House. No,
it's Goldwater. Yeah, Hop Chowder. He might have sent you Spellbinder.
Go ahead.
Did he send you Spellbinder? Because that's Rent House. It might have been that one.
You know what? He actually, I'm sorry. Yeah, he sent me both of them, Rent House and Goldwater. Yeah, you're right. Goldwater, the Hop Chata. That's one of the best beers I've ever had in my fucking life, bro. You know, I don't know. I mean, look, I know. She told me, fucking NST Beer Adventure. She told me, she was like, oh, that's it, bro. Okay, so in the Sacramento area, you know, we hear a lot about good beer and stuff like that, and the beer is pretty good. But I know that fucking down south, fucking San Diego and all that stuff, that area down there, Pizza Port, all these, you know, the ones that you mentioned, Monk Brewing, they're really good, you know. And
Monk is
yeah. So I know that they're really good, and I already know about fucking Arizona. Arizona is a hotspot for fucking good beer, right? Yeah. And
but dude, up in Sacktown, you can get Work, you can get Russian River, you can get Casa Agria, you can get who makes Foggy Notion? God damn, I forgot what they're called. But there's so much killer beer up in the north side. Like there's tons.
Yeah. I know that fucking Track 7, they also make really good beer over there. They got a fucking incredible hazy that fucking I tried not too long ago before the shutdown happened. Yeah. But you know what? I started in this fucking beer community only about a year ago. You know, how long have you been into craft beer? Cheers, by the way. Cheers, brother.
Cheers, dog. So I used to drink whiskey, and whiskey was my shit. I loved bourbon and whiskey, but it got to the point where I had all these like expensive ass bottles just sitting around that I'm not drinking. You don't drink them. They sit around, and every once in a while you get some.
Yeah.
And on the regular, I'm drinking, you know, Jim Beam or whatever. That's my regular drink. And then I was like, man, I don't like this shit. I was like, I love whiskey. I love bourbon. Still my favorite. That's why anything that's barrel aged in bourbon barrels, I love more than anything else. But I got to the point where I was like, well, beer is changing. It's not what it used to be. You know, back in the days, you wanted craft. You were drinking Goose Island and Lagunitas and, you know, Blue Moon and shit like that before they got all bought out and all that shit. And then Arizona, they popped out with a brewery called Four Peaks. And Four Peaks was like, at the time, was like, oh, shit, Four Peaks. They had this red one. I forgot what it was called. But everybody was drinking. It was like, oh, this is the best shit around. And I was like, all right, I'll fuck with it. So I started fucking with it. And it was killer. It was good shit. And then all of a sudden, Santan popped up and all these other ones. And then next thing you know, I was like, okay, you know what? I was like, beer's funner because there's so many different styles of beer. Like when you're drinking bourbon, some are stronger than others. You know, some are going to have more burn. Some of them are going to be smoother. But with beer, I was like, dude, I can go from a Saison to a stout. I can drink a barley wine. I can drink an oatmeal stout. You know, it doesn't even taste like a regular stout. So I was like, you know what? Fuck this. I'm going to get into beer. So I started fucking around with beer. And this is probably about 2 to 3 years ago that I really started messing with it. But what happened was I was getting into the beer communities out here. And then I started meeting a bunch of people as I was standing in line for releases and shit. And people were being cool as fuck. And I was like, dude, these people are awesome. Like, they're actually, like, nice people, you know? They're actually, like, you know, they're generous. They're like, hey, you want to go to a bottle share? And I'm like, yeah, dude, I'll go to a bottle share and shit like that. So, and every time you go to any, like, if you go to Wren House, you go to Wandering Tortoise, you go to Helton or any of those, when you're sitting there drinking, they're not all snobby and ignoring you like if you were at some, you know, distillery. They're all talking to you. They'll sit down right next to you like, hey, what's up, man? And start talking to you. And I was like, dude, these people are fucking awesome. So then one day, what really, really got me into it was there was a raffle in one of the communities. And I got to get you into some of those Arizona communities, too, because you'll love it. But I was in this one community, and there was a raffle, and this guy, he's raffling off this bottle of this beer he brewed with a brewery out here called 8-Bit. Now, it's not the 8-Bit out of California. There's another 8-Bit out here that's in Tolson. So I ended up winning. I went down, I met up with the guy. His name was Mark, and it was him and his girl, and I got the beer, and I was like, hey, well, I'm here, let me buy you a beer. And we started talking, and he starts telling me that, you know, he runs this group. It's a beer group that raises awareness for testicular cancer. Now, for me, my little brother died of testicular cancer when he was 23. So it meant like a lot to me, and I was like, holy shit. And I was like, dude, I do a lot of shit, you know, with cancer awareness and all that stuff. So I ended up linking them up with my mom because she does a lot. She like has concerts over this shit and everything. So we're talking and everything. The next thing you know, we like exchange information. I take off. Next thing you know, I getting in with him and everything, and his whole group of friends and everybody, and they stay pretty tight knit and everything, but they're cool with everybody else. And next thing you know, I'm at bottle shares. I'm going to these events, and he holds a thing out here called Beer School. So Beer School, what they do is you buy a ticket to Beer School and you go to Beer School wherever it's at. It's going to be at one of the breweries, and when you go there, they talk about testicular cancer, raising awareness and pushing that out there to everybody, and really, really getting your friends to go get themselves checked and everything. But at the same time, they also spread their love of beer. Now, if they have it, like we've had it at Oso, we've had it at just pretty much all of them out here, really. And you go to Beer School, and then there'll be other breweries there. And Rent House, The Shop, all of them will be there. And like you'll have a bunch of other breweries and booths, and your ticket buys you these 4-ounce pours of whatever beers they brought. And you just go booth to booth, and, you know, they explain to you exactly, they teach you about beer, which is awesome because you're there, you're learning about, you know, testicular cancer awareness. Then you're learning about beer. They're explaining to you what's the difference between a Saison and an IPA and all this type of stuff. And you're going around trying all this beer. At the end of it, let's say you're smiling like a motherfucker. But it's a great fucking time. And through them, I've met so many people. And, like, I'm going to tell you right now, when COVID-19 first hit, I'm chilling at home. I think I was probably in here playing a fucking video game or something. I really don't remember. But there was a ring at the doorbell. And I go over and I open my door, and there's a box right there. And I'm like, what the hell is this? And it's one of the guys from that group. He just dropped off a bunch of beer, and he does meats. So there was like bacon slabs and all this stuff. And I was like, what the fuck? And I text him. He's like, hey, man, keep your head up. Hope everything goes good, you know. Get through this thing healthy. And I was like, dude, thanks. About 4 days later, I'm chilling, doorbell. I go over, and another one of the dudes, big old box of beer, bread, a bunch of meat and shit. And I'm like, what the fuck? I mean, that's how these dudes are. And that's the thing, like, this beer community out here is different than anything I've ever ran into. You know, growing up in California in the 90s, it's not like that. You're sketchy by everybody you meet. You're sketchy by every person you run into at the gas station. If somebody walks up like, let me get $1, you're like, get the fuck away from me, you know? And but these dudes, they're just fucking awesome. And like it's like a family and shit. And ever since then, like I've embraced it. I love it. I mean, this is all those stickers up there, they're different breweries and stuff from out here, and beers that I really love from California, from everywhere and shit. And yeah, that's pretty much how I got into the whole thing. And I never looked back, man. I'm all in now.
Yeah, you know what? You're the fucking second person that I've talked to from Arizona, Kylie, NSC Beer Adventure. She also told me that the what do you call it, community out there is really, really nice and fucking friendly as hell. And you know what?
Yeah.
Brother, I'm sorry to hear that. You know, at such a young age, man. You know, I'm really sorry to hear that. And I'm glad that, you know, there's a community out there, especially beer. What a fucking coincidence that, you know, guys that are fucking into beer are also, you know, raising awareness on, you know, health issues, you know, so that's crazy. And pretty amazing, you know, if you ask me. Before that, brother, before that, how did you get it, like, into beer? Were you always into like IPAs and stuff like that, or just like lagers, or how'd you get into that?
So when I was a kid, I mean, really, I could take this back to when I was a teenager. When I first started drinking, you know, you're a fucking kid, you don't know what you're drinking. And I used to drink Thunderbird and Night Train, Mad Dog 2020. We were drinking 40s and shit, because in California in the 90s, I was trying to explain this to a bunch of people. I'm like, it was a different world. And like, I could walk to the corner store at the age of 15 and buy a couple 40s, and they didn't sweat me. They weren't like, where's your ID? You know, they were just like, yeah, here you go, you know. And I was drinking 40s of like, you know, Schlitz and all that kind of shit. But right then I noticed too, I was like, some of these have different ABVs and stuff. And I was like, I've always been interested in shit, you know? So I'm like looking at it and I'm like, okay, these are different. And I could totally take like a Crazy Horse and the Mickey's and tell you which one's which. Like, okay, I know Mickey's it's bitter, it's not good and everything. And then when we got a little older, I started having money. let's just say I had money. So I had money and shit. And then whenever we would go down to the corner store, because I was born and raised in San Bernardino, California, right there on 5th and I guess that'd be 5th and L. There was a little corner store, and that's pretty much where I got all my food, all my beer and shit like that. And everybody would be getting, you know, Bud Light or whatever they're going to get and shit like that. But me, I'd be over there getting a bottle of Hennessy and some Corona. And that's what I drink. I drink Coronas and shit. And I was like, I'd buy a bag of limes while I was there, fucking Coronas and limes. And I was like, cool. Now drinking Hennessy and shit. And then I was like, okay, I ended up moving to Vegas. When I was in Vegas, same thing. I started getting introduced to all these people because I'm working in these big resorts, and they're like, "You're drinking Corona. Have you ever had Heineken?" And I'm like, "No, what's Heineken?"
At what age is this?
What is what?
At what age is this when you moved to Vegas and all that and started?
Vegas at the age of 18. It was one of those situations where I was like, "Look, I could stay here in California and die, or I can go to Vegas and do something with my life." And my grandfather lived in Vegas. And I went up to visit him one time, and he lived in this pad, and it was him and like these 3 other dudes. They were just like bachelor guys chilling. They literally had, and this is one of the things I remember too, they had 2 fridges in there. One of them was all like guy food, like sandwiches, steaks, shit like that. The other one was beer. It was all beer. And then on the top shelf, it was the ice part, and they had mugs in there freezing. And I was like, yo, that's the coolest shit I ever seen. So my grandpa's telling me the whole time, like, yo, get the fuck out of California, get up here to Vegas, get paid. I'll get you into the union, you'll get paid, you'll be set. So when I went out there, when I was 18, I really just thought about it, and I was like, look, I can stay here and work in the factory for the rest of my life, making minimum wage, drinking Coronas, you know, on the street corner and shit, or I can go to Vegas and do something. And I'm glad I did too, because once I did, I got out to Vegas. And once I got out to Vegas, I got into food and beverage. And I've been in that industry since 20 something years ago. And now that's the reason why I work in Oregon and California and Nevada and all over Arizona and Utah and all this shit, because of food and beverage and what I do.
Okay. If you don't mind me asking, you know, like, what do you do? Food and beverage, like
what I do? I work in, it's an industry, it's a department called stewarding. So what we do is, like, we run food to the parties, we run the dishwashers, we run the people who set up all the equipment for the parties and get the stuff out there and all that kind of stuff. And I learned that in Vegas. And then once I learned that in Vegas and everything, and I got the trade, and I had some good resorts under my belt, and I had some good resorts under my name, my resume was looking crispy. So when I moved out here to Arizona, like, my resume, I would drop down on tables and people were like, whatever you want. And then I started working all the ones in Arizona, shipped out to California a couple times, Utah, Oregon, all that shit. But yeah, been doing that shit ever since I was 18.
Wow. You know, something that's really interesting is that you at a young age were noticing like the ABVs and all that stuff. You know, like, usually a fucking youngster, I didn't give a fuck. I didn't care. I was just like, I want that, you know, I want that drink right there. Fucking let me drink it, you know, and let me smoke some weed. You know, that's the kind of shit I was doing in the 90s, you know. But it's pretty cool that you were looking at the fucking ABV and the differences here, you know. I wasn't like that. I wasn't processing shit like that. I just wanted to fucking get faded, and that was it, you know. So yeah. That's
well, see, cool, man. Well, that was the point too, and the same thing with weed. So, my ex-brother-in-law, when I was a kid, he was like, yo, let's start smoking cigarettes. I'm like 16 at the time or something. And I'm like, yeah, all right. So we started smoking cigarettes. And then, you know, it's like a $5 a day habit. I'm walking down the corner store, getting another pack of cigarettes. And one day I walked down there and I'm grabbing me a pack of cigarettes. And I was like, man, I'm thinking about the money I spent on this. And I was like, how much weed I could have bought with that shit? Like, I was like, I could have been high this whole fucking time. And I'm out here smoking fucking cigarettes. Then it's one of those balances where I'm like, do I want to keep spending money on cigarettes, or do I want to get fucking high? And I was like, fuck these cigarettes. And then that was it. I was just smoking trees from then on, just fucking blowing it like crazy, because I was like, I don't waste my money on fucking cigarettes. And same thing with beer, you know. If you're looking to get fucked up, you're going to look at ABV. But if you're looking for what you like, if you know your hops, you know, you're like, yo, I'm a Citra guy, I'm a Mosaic guy, you know, I like Galaxy, you know, your hops or whatever. It makes it way easier when you show up there and you're looking at that shit in the fridge and you're like, you know, when you read the can, what you're buying. You're not just like, oh, this this is a pretty can. I'm gonna buy this shit. And you get home, you're like, oh god, this is weird, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. You know what? I'm still learning about the fucking hops and all that stuff, man. Like I said, the first time when I first started getting into fucking beer, dude, I fucking bought a different pack. It was a Pizza Port fucking variety pack, and
yeah,
I bought it because I was like, I didn't want to have, you know, just Corona, fucking, you know, Sierra Nevada that I was used to, Lagunitas that I was used to. I said, I saw this fucking box and it was just, you know, a variety pack of different shit that I've never seen. It was a little more expensive, you know, it was about $22 for a 12 pack. I bought it anyway, you know, and I took it home. I didn't even fucking touch it that day. I touched it the next day after the party. You know, I probably like had a party that day. So I found like one or two, and then I fucking got it. I fucking tried it. I was like, holy shit. I was like, this shit's so good.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start a channel on fucking YouTube about this fucking beer. Hold on. And then I fucking, you know, went on YouTube, fucking cracked another open, did my first fucking like intro to beer and shit. And
yeah,
I've been doing this shit since, but you know what? I don't know anything about the hops really, but I think I know which ones I kind of like Citra and the fucking Mosaic, you know, and you know, they're the that I kind of like mess with. But for the most part, it's like, let me try that IPA right there. Let me try that hazy. Let me try that double. Let me try that triple, you know. And just within the last, maybe I would say about 2 months, I've been getting into like the stouts, like the fucking, like, you know, I've been trying to fucking get into the bourbons.
Yeah.
Look, let me tell you something. I bought a fucking bourbon fucking stout, I would say about a month ago. And I'm not big on liquor, bro. I'm not big on liquor. You know, I'll do tequila, you know, I'll shoot maybe some fucking bourbon just to get fucked up, but I don't even do that because I don't like to get drunk like that. You know, I like to fucking chill. I like to drink. I like to drink beer more than anything. But I bought that one because I wanted to get into it. And, you know, they just say that I'm a pussy, bro, and I didn't finish it. But, you know, it was good. It was good for the while that, you know, that I was drinking it. But I've also tried other, like, I tried other stouts, other, what do you call it, porters that are dark, you know, and had a little kick to them, but, you know, but not the real bourbon shit. But last week I bought one, I killed it. I said, fuck, let me go back to the store and get another one. It was so good, and I couldn't find it, so I ended up getting another one. It had just,
what was it?
It was Flying Dog. Flying Dog, I forgot what it was, bro, but it was by Flying Dog, some local brewery out here.
Okay.
Yeah, it was really good, bro, and you know, it had that bourbon fucking kick to it too, and I fucking, you know, it was a 12 ounce, you know, a little 12 ounce bottle or 16 ounce bottle, whatever the fuck it was. Yeah, but it was good, bro. So, but see, you know, like, if you don't mind me asking, if you don't want to talk about this, you don't have to. What kind of shit were you getting into in San Bernardino?
Oh fuck. So okay, so I grew up.
You talk about the early '90s, you know, and or the '90s, you know. I'm from '79, bro. I'm from '79, so I grew up in the '90s in San Francisco. You know, at the height of fucking gangbanging and fucking you know, fucking different shit. I didn't gangbang for nothing. You know, like, I had homies, you know, that gangbanged, and you know, I got jumped into like little cliques and shit like that. But more than anything, graffiti was my shit. I just wanted to go right on some shit. And hey, do you remember something called beaties?
Bees?
Beaties.
Oh, the ones you smoke?
Yeah, the little Jamaican like cigarettes and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so, you know, yeah, we were doing those back in the day. You know, that was like a real popular thing back in the day to smoke fucking beaties. You know, the liquor stores down the street were fucking selling to kids, and they didn't give a fuck. They didn't care.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what was life for you like in the '90s in San Bernardino?
So okay, when I grew up, you know, my dad was a trafficker, so he wasn't around very much. And then one day my mom was like, I'm tired of getting beaten up. I'm not doing this anymore. And we took off, went to go live with my grandma. But during,
let me stop real quick. You don't have to talk about anything you don't want to talk about. You already know.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah. Well, yeah, there's probably a lot that I wouldn't say, but it was one of those things. I mean, I think a lot of people, I'm not special for this. A lot of people went through a bunch of shit. You know, a lot of people been through hell and back. Like when I talk to my wife, there's shit she went through that I can't even imagine. So I don't hold myself like, oh, you know, I suffer. I suffered, you know, I mean, I think everybody suffers in their own way. But I mean, at the time that this all happened, I was a little kid. And there's a lot of it I really don't remember. But my mom left my dad. And it sucked because I was going to a school, like I was in kindergarten and I got jumped. And it was because I robbed some kid, and then he went and got his homies, and they jumped me and shit. And I was in all kinds of bad shit. So then when we went to go live with my grandma, I got sent to this all-white school. And when I got sent to this all-white school, it was fucking worse because I was the only Mexican there. So I was constantly getting jumped, constantly getting in fights. And then I was the problem because I was the one who was always, you know, the common denominator in this. I was always the one that was in the fights. And then after that happened, after I left that school.
Can I ask you something real quick?
Yeah.
Why were you getting jumped being a fucking little ass kid like that? Like, what kind of fucking private school was this, or all white school was this, man?
No, I wasn't private school. No, it was a regular ass school, but it was in this white neighborhood like on the north side of San Bernardino. So I lived up where we went to live with my grandma. We lived on the border, like literally on the street where it stops to have to go to that school. And then they hated me because I was Mexican. They hated me because I used to listen to, at that time I used to listen to heavy metal. And they hated that shit because they were a bunch, you know, they listened to rap music and they were like, oh, you know, you're a little heavy metal kid. And I was like, yeah, whatever, dude. Like, I don't really care. And, but that was only from like the 3rd grade to the 6th. So you're talking like 3 years. Like, it sucked for 3 years, whatever. But then I got shipped to this other school, which was my junior high. And I was like, oh, my people. Now I was around my people again. And my sister, my older sister, was always one of those girls who was like everybody knew her, and she was like in everything. Like, she hung around with all the coolest kids, and by coolest kids I mean all the gangsters and shit. And because in the 90s in San Bernardino, that's what it was. If you weren't a gangster, you weren't shit. That's all it was. So she knew all these gangsters, all these, like, all her friends were like cute as shit. So I was like always trying to like look up to them and hang out with them and shit, and like dress like them and emulate them in whatever way I can. And then I get to junior high. And what had happened was my mom was going to give me a haircut, and she ended up fucking it up. So then I ended up buzzing all my hair off, went to school the next day, and everybody was like, yo, like, look, because all the cholos were bald. So they were like, oh, what's up, man? And then next thing you know, I was like in. And I was hanging out with this one gang and everything, and we were running around together. And it was cool and shit. I mean, we'd get in fights with people from other streets and everything, whatever. We were kids at that point. That's before it started getting real, you know? And then when I became a teenager, I went to high school. So I don't know, do you know my cousin, Cypher, Chuck Chill?
Mm-mm.
He's in like a lot of those graffiti ones. He writes Cypher. When we were kids, you know, this is when graffiti started getting big. Now me, I was always a little artist. Like, I loved drawing. I used to do calligraphy when I was a kid. And so when I started seeing graffiti blowing up, I was like, yo, man, this looks tight. And I was ready. I knew how to write, you know, gangster writing. I could write my gang perfect. I could do court check. It looked gorgeous. I could do all that shit. And then he was like, look, he comes over one day and he's talking about it. He's like, I want to start, you know, a tagger crew. And I go, you want to start a tagger crew? And he goes, yeah. And I go, fuck it, I'm in, whatever. I don't really care, you know? So he's like, all right, cool. So we start getting into him, me and my other cousin. So we started up this little crew, and we like instantly had beef with all these people. And like, I don't know why. They just fucking hated us because we weren't one of the original ones or whatever. We're just this little startup crew or whatever. So we were like getting in fights all the time, getting jumped and shit like that. And whatever, we didn't give a fuck. We were in it for the art anyways. And then what happened was we ended up blowing up. And then we started getting like a bunch of dudes. Next, you know, we had like 20 dudes in the crew. And then we had dudes that were in California. I mean, not California. I was in California. But in Paramount. They were in Paramount. And in Paramount, they had already approved the same name. And they were like, yo, let's link up and we'll get bigger. We're like, cool. So we linked up with them, got bigger, and we were doing our thing and shit. And then I can't remember why. Yeah, what's up?
At what age was this?
About 16-ish, somewhere around there.
Okay, so you linked up with another crew. Like how many people were like in these crews and shit?
So you're talking like, I think the one in Paramount was way bigger, and I think they had somewhere around like, I don't know, like 50 or 60 or something. Ours was about 20 to 30 deep at a time.
Damn.
And
That's a lot for a fucking graffiti crew. Like, you know, like, look, graffiti crews for the most part, you know, it's maybe about in San Francisco. Okay, it depends. You know, like if you're like from like a rougher area, a gangster kind of area, and you want to do graffiti,
yeah,
it might be deep around 30 to 40 people. You know what I'm saying? But if you know, like a lot of crews are just like about like 6, 7, 8 people, 10 people max. You know what I'm saying? Just they focus on writing. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
Well, for us, well, I think the thing was the attraction for us was like, okay, so in our city there was PI, there was CFK, and there was TM, and those were the three that were like the mega ones. And there was these one thing I really loved growing up was there was this guy named Mekos, this guy named Sexo, and a guy named Hyper. And I don't care where you went anywhere, and those motherfuckers were up and huge, like big ass fucking throw ups. They would like there was where our mall was. There was a big wash on the other side. All along that shit was just Hyper and Sexo and Mekos and all these dudes, and we're like I used to look up to them. I was like, fuck, I want to get like that. Yeah. And then
that name is funny. That name is funny. Mekos, like how do you come on, bro?
Yeah,
that's crazy,
dude. That was dude.
How did
anywhere you went, you saw his shit.
How did he spell it though?
MECOS.
That's. I mean, I don't even know how you spell like the word, but that's just funny that he wrote.
Oh yeah, the right way. So I don't know. I think it's MECO.
Hey, you want to tell? I don't know if you know what that means. You want to tell the people what that means? You know, the people that don't speak Spanish or something.
It's fucking come. It means come. That shit's sperm, baby.
Yeah.
But yeah, funny. Like it's a Mexican slang way of saying come and shit. And Sexo, he'd write either Sexo or Sexer or whatever. And then Hyper, he was a little white kid, so I think that's why he was Hyper. But he was dope. Like he had throws and shit. And he would get up everywhere. But yeah, anyways, I think our attraction, why dudes were like joining us, was because there was like these like, for me, PI and TM and CFK and all those were more like the Targets and Walmarts of it. They were just so big, you know, they were huge. Those they had like 100 people in each one, just in our city, and they were starting to tag banging at that point. And like the dudes from PI and TM were like shooting each other and jumping each other all the time. So yeah. I think people were getting out of it and being like, "Oh, we want to just be writers. Like, we want to roll with you guys and write with you guys." And our like partner crew, there was a crew called BN, stood for Busting Nuts, and they were fucking dope. Like this little kid Poet was fucking dope, and they were all about writing. It was all about your styles. If you don't have styles, you can't write. Then you can't be in BN's in the story. That's why they didn't let me in, because I wasn't good enough to be in that shit. And I was up. Yeah, I was up and I was doing my thing, but my shit was real basic. I could do, I was really good at bombing, and there was a style called Wicked. I could do both of those really well, but everything else was real basic. And
what's bombing, bro? Like what do you mean? Like, because when we say bombing,
it's just bombing is where you start at one point kind of small, and then you throw it up big. Okay. So you write your first letter, and then the next one will get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and then at the end of it, you swoop back. And like I used to do a thing, because I used to write for a short time there, when I used to bomb, I used to write the name Blooms. So I would do BLOOMS. And when I got to the S, I bring it back real quick, and then I throw a little flower at the end. And shit was nice. Like, it was pretty. Yeah, but I think that was the attraction, because for us, it was like, you know what, I'm tired of getting jumped. I didn't want to be a gangster. I wanted to be a writer. We're going to go write with you guys. And we're like, yeah, cool. And we were just taking everybody in, because we weren't like, oh, if you can't do this and that, you can't be in and shit. We were doing it for the fun. We'd go smoke some blunts, we'd take off, and we'd mob. We used to do these things called, God, what would they call it? We call it, I think it was missions, or I don't know. We'd call it murdering sometimes, whatever. But we'd all go to the house, to my cousin's house, and meet up. We'd smoke some weed, drink some beer and shit. Then we would just all go our separate ways, and we'd just, on our way home, you would have to hit up everything you can. So if that was the case, then the next day when you go out to, go to school, go get a burger, whatever, you would see, oh, this is where Tony went home. This is where he hit up and all that shit. You see all this shit on the way to his house and stuff. And it was fun. Like, it was a good time and shit. And well, until the cops fuck you up and shit. But other than that, it was a good time.
Yeah. Sounds like it. Yeah, man. I know all about that, bro. When did you get caught? Did you get caught fucking as a kid, or did you get arrested or anything like that?
It caught. No, well, one time we did a mission, and what happened was, and it's funny as fuck because we went and I forgot where we were at. We had a point A and a point B, and point B was my cousin's house, and we were all gonna meet up there. And we were gonna I had a whole bag of pre-rolled joints and shit, and I was like, we're gonna get there, we're gonna smoke some joints, we're gonna drink and shit. We had a bunch of beer in the fridge, and we go. I literally have like a ton of these crazy ass stories, but we go and we were heading back, and we're just hitting up, and we were cutting through this neighborhood, and we look, there's this big ass wall. And my cousin, not my cousin Cypher, but my other cousin, he looks at it and he goes, "Hey man, I want to get that wall." And I go, "For what?" And he goes, "It's beautiful. Like, you know, when you see a big, just plain, clean wall, you're like, oh, I want to hit that up." And I go, "Dude, we're in a neighborhood back here. Nobody's gonna see that shit." And he goes, no, I'm gonna go get it. And I go, "All right." So he runs over and he goes and gets it. Little did we know, some motherfucker was sitting in his house and he saw that shit and he was like, "Oh, not my fucking neighborhood." And he called 911. So we go walking back, and he literally was, I guess, creeping behind us, like following us and shit. And we get back to my cousin's house. We go in. We're all kind of celebrating, like, "Oh, what'd you get?" "Oh, I got this billboard." "Oh, I got this and that." And then I want to say it was my friend Tony, one of them, in my cousin's backyard. He kind of hopped on the wall like this, and he looked, and he threw himself off the wall onto the ground. And he's like, "Oh, fuck." And we're like, "What?" He goes, "Fuck." And I go and I look because he had this wall that was made out of concrete and had these like slats that were like sideways and you could see out to the street. And I look and there's just nothing but cops out on E Street. And there was like detectives and they're all standing there talking to each other. And we were like, "Oh shit." And I took off running to this tree and I dug up some dirt and I stuck the joints in there because they were in a Ziploc. And I threw it under there, covered it up, ran back in, and we sat inside. Cops all come in, they pull us out and everything. You know, they literally, when they came in, they were all down this hallway, and they had cops lined up. And every time you went from one to the next one, they had their gun to your head. So you have a gun to your head, just for writing on the wall, gun to your head, and then you get walked to another cop, and then another cop put his gun to your head, and we're 16, 15, 16, somewhere around there. And then you get to another cop, and then another one meets you, gun to your head, and you're like, "Dude, I'm a kid." And they were just like, "Get the fuck out of here." And they pulled us all outside. They had us on the ground, cuffed up on our knees. And the dude, I seen him down there. He was sitting by the car, and he points out my cousin because he's the only one that he saw. He saw him do that wall, and I go, "Fuck, man." So I told you don't do that wall. And my cousin, like a dingbat, when we would get back, step one, on the way back, you would get rid of your gloves. If you had any paint on you, we had paint thinner, and you get it off your hands real quick. He didn't do any of that shit. He didn't wear gloves. He had the shit all over his hands, had spray paint on there. So they're like, he's the only one with evidence on him. He's the only one that could get fingered. Boom. He gets fucking taken in. And the dude, I remember I was sitting there and I'm on the floor and I'm cuffed up on my knees and I'm looking at the dude and I'm just mad dogging him. And then he starts tapping one of the cops. He's like, excuse me. And the cop's like, "Yeah." And he's like, they're looking at me mad. And I go, "Hey man, I know where you live." And then the cops come.
Hold on. Who's this? Who are you looking at?
I was looking at the guy who ratted us out. Because there was one guy there that's a civilian. He's not a cop. He's just some guy standing there pointing out like, "That's him over there, sir."
Okay.
Shit like that. So I'm like, "Yo, I know where you live." And then the cop's like, "Shut the fuck up." And I'm just like, "You don't got nothing on me. Shut up," you know? And then they uncuff me and I get up and I'm standing there and I'm pissed because they're taking my cousin. And I turn around and I look at the guy and like real quick I just go, and the dude just like, "Hey, they think what he did." And then they're like, "Whoa. And I go, "I didn't do shit, man. What are you talking about?" And then like, you know, they didn't have nothing. They're like, "Get the fuck inside or we're gonna arrest you too." And I'm like, "All right." That was a little thing. So I was fucking stupid starting shit. Yeah. So I go inside, but what they did, and now I wish my cousin was here because he could tell you step by step what happened. But basically, they drove him out to a field and they were like, "Look, dude, we don't want to waste paperwork and, you know, waste our days sitting there writing about you writing on the wall. So we'll make you a deal. You shut the fuck up about this. We're going to beat your ass in this parking lot, but we'll let you go." Out in this field, he's like, "Well, we'll let you go." My cousin's like, "Do it. Like, fuck it, do it." So no reason I noticed because like maybe an hour later, because we were all house pissed. Like, we're not smoking the joints, drinking no more. We're like pissed, like, "Oh man, this motherfucker ratted on us." And then we get a call. And it's my cousin from a payphone. He's like, "Yo, man, come pick me up." And we're like, "Where are you?" He's like all the way on the other side of town. So we drive out there to go pick him up, and he's all fucked up. Like, they beat the shit out of him. And he said they pulled him out. Like, I think he was still cuffed up, too. While he was cuffed up, they just beat the shit out of him, told him to quit writing that shit, and left him there. And I was like,
Yeah.
hey, man, that's a win. Let's get fucked up. You know, we went back to the pad, fucking smoked some joints, got drunk and shit. It was a blast.
Yeah. Fuck, man, that's a fucking story, bro. You know what? One time, right, I saw my cousin, right? This was when I wasn't even doing graffiti anymore. Because let me tell you, you guys had a good system. You guys were smart about it. You guys were smart about it. You had the paint thinner, you had the gloves and all that.
Yep.
Shit. A lot of people don't
All
do
that
that.
shit.
I wasn't doing that. I was like, fuck it. You know, I had ink on my pants. I had ink on my fucking shirt from where my pants meet the shirt on my hands. But so anyway, back to when one day, right? I was living with my cousin, my little cousin. I was living with my little cousin. I was stepping out the house and I was like, and I looked at him and he had fucking ink on his hands. And I was like, Anthony, I was like, hey, you right? He was like, yeah, how you know? I was like, bro, you got that shit all over your hands, dog. You need to fucking wash that. So, you know, like he was being dumb. He was being dumb about it. He had fucking hella ink all over his fucking hands from the markers and shit, you know? Yeah, but that was a win for your cousin, you know, just to catch a little fucking ass whipping for a few minutes, you know, for like a minute or something. And then,
Can't beat it. Yeah, I mean, that's not that's the only time, okay, that's not the only time we were chased and shit. There was a couple other ones where we got chased and shit, but we got away. Like 2 in particular that were fucking nuts and shit, but it happened. I mean, there was times where we saw, a lot of times, like when you're out riding and you got a big wall in front of you, it's out in the middle of the field, it's by a freeway, it's in a spot where cops can't really get to. So you can see those motherfuckers from far away. You're like, oh shit, there's the cops. And if you have a plan in mind, you know, hey, if shit happens, we're going over here, you do it. The ones that get caught are like the dumbasses that are walking home from school and they start mobbing up on the sign right there, or hitting up the stop sign by their house and shit. I mean, you just gotta be smart. Like, you do that shit right, you're fine.
Yeah. You're right. You got to be able to see them coming. You know, it reminds me of a story where, you know, a friend and I, we were fucking going home from school. Fucking, we go under an underpass. And like, fuck it, let's go hit the underpass real quick. You know, the freeway's right there. So we're down there. You know, we're fucking tagging. We're doing our thing, and we're done. You know, then we fucking get on the overpass, and we're walking. And as we're getting to the end of the overpass, I look about a half a mile down, I see a fucking cop car. I was like, when I saw him, I was like, that's for us. I said, hey, bro, hurry up, we gotta go.
Yep.
Because the cops are coming. So, you know, we hit a fucking corner. We hit a corner. We, you know, dump our stuff, our fucking markers, our fucking cans. We hide them under some rocks, and we start walking like normal. And then the fucking cop pulls up. He's like, hey, you know, you two stop right there. And we were like, yeah, what's up, officer? What's going on? He's like, man, we got a call that you guys were tagging on, you know, on some, you know, on the underpass. I was like, that wasn't us, you know, that wasn't us. I was like, yes, you could search us, you know. So he you know, he starts to search this shit. He's like, all right, okay, you guys can go, fucking. And
that's the best feeling.
Yeah, and it was all because I saw that motherfucker coming. Hey, Basilio, you already know, bro. When you're fucking riding, right, you gotta be like a fucking ninja, bro. It really is like fucking being a ninja, right? Like you gotta do some sneaky ass.
Oh yeah, you gotta be smart.
Yeah. Okay, so you gotta be smart. But what's the dumbest shit that you ever done where you were like, why did I do that? Why did I ride on that shit and, you know, almost get caught or get caught?
Fuck. There's a fucking lot.
Look. Okay.
I mean, there was a lot of times where we're like, okay, here's one. Me and my cousin were sitting there, and at this point, we had graduated onto other things. We were more focused on money at this point.
Yeah.
And we're sitting there one night. We still had all our cans, our tips, we had markers, all that shit, streaks, all that shit still. And we're sitting at his house, and his house was headquarters. Like that's where we worked out of everything we did. And God bless that fucker. I love that dude. That's my big brother. He raised me basically. If you ever see him on there, Cypher One, that dude, when he says Cypher One kills, Cypher One fucking kills. But we're sitting there at his house, and our first crew that we used to have, we were nuts. Like we didn't care. We were so hungry for that like fame that we didn't give a fuck. We'd write on anything and shit. So later on in our years, when we're, let's say, older, 17, 18 years old and shit, we would do this thing to each other where we'd go, the crew we used to write for was WAK. And we'd go, WAK would do it. And we'd be like, fuck. Because that meant like you had to do it. If you didn't do it, you're a bitch. So we were standing there, and it's like, fuck, I don't remember the time. I was a kid, but let's say 10 o'clock at night, somewhere around there. And we're chilling, and we're watching a movie, and he's like, yo, remember the D Street wall? And I was like, yeah. And he goes, they just painted it yesterday. And I was like, oh, nice. And he goes, let's go hit it. And I go, what? And I'm like, no. And then he goes, nah, WAK would do it. I was like, fuck. And I was like, all right. So we get up, because normally, you know, you kind of do reconnaissance. You kind of go check it out. You know around what time the cops are rolling through. You want to not so high traffic time and shit like that. You don't want, you know, fucking Johnny B. Good seeing you and wanting to call the cops and chase you down and all like some store owner come running out. You gotta be smart. So I go, you know what? It's 10 o'clock at night, whatever. It was late, and I go, let's fucking go. So we stop, we get our cans, get our shit ready. We head down there. Cypher would always do a throw, and I would usually do court check because I was better with, you know, hand stops. So I'm over there and I'm doing court check and I'm just getting it up and shit, and I get my shit done. And we turn around and we're walking back, and we're walking down this alley, and we're just kind of walking and talking. And I don't know why. I can't remember which one of us did. But one of us turns around and is like, fuck. And then I know we both turn around. And I look, and you can see that wall at the end of the alley, and there's a cop car sitting there with his light on it. And we were like, fuck! And we turn around and start running. And I bend the corner through there was this little parking lot type thing for these apartments, and I ate shit. I clipped this fucking little parking curb thing, ate shit, and fell down. And my cousin kept running because he's like, fuck you, you're on your own. And I went and I hid behind a tree stump. And I'm just sitting there behind this tree stump, sitting there, and I'm like, what am I fucking doing? Like, the cop rolls by, and you're like, dude, what are you doing? Like, I can see you. I'm sitting there with a backpack on and my shit on, and I go, fuck. And I get up, and I was running. And at this point, this is why I bring it up, because that point from when I left the tree stump, running down this other street to get to his house, I mean, I don't know if the cop's over here now, because I didn't see where he went. I don't know if he's still at the wall. I don't know if he went down the other street. I don't know when I get to the end of that street, he's going to be coming up that one and see me. I don't know. But I'm just running and running and running, and I get to my cousin's house, and I hop his porch real quick, and I come running in, and I slam the door, and I threw myself on the floor. Like, I just, like, hit the ground real quick. I'm like, fuck. And I'm laying there on the ground, like, laying on my backpack, and I look up. There's my cousin on the couch just laughing. And he's like, man, why the fuck did you fall? I was like, oh, man, fuck you. I was like, you fucking left me. And he starts laughing, and he goes, what do you want me to do, pick you up? He's just saying a movie ain't going to be like, stay up, Kane, and pick you up and try to bring you with me. And I was like, laughing. I was like, yeah, you're right. Fuck it, whatever. But the cop never got us. But it was one of those moments where in between then, as I was running, I was like, this is stupid. There's no reason to do this. We're not even a crew anymore. Like, we were doing court check for, you know, a bunch of people who I haven't talked to in a long time. And I was like, this is stupid. It's a waste of time. But but the next, after that.
What's court check?
Court check is when you, okay, so let's say you're in a crew, you're in WAK. One of you guys, depending on who has what style or what they're doing, one of them's going to do a throw up, or one of them's going to do, you know, a bomb, or whatever you're going to do. Court check is when you write the crew, and then you start writing everybody's names.
Okay.
So I did that part. I used to do that because I'd hit our crew, and then I'd hit up all our names. So I used to do me, him, my cousin, and a couple other dudes and shit real quick. And then I would do them all real quick in a row right there, and then that's court check.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay. Yeah.
I love doing because I knew how to do all their styles. So if I was going to do it, you know, I could do Cypher's and Cypher style. I could do mine because at that point I used to write a name. I used to write exec. It was EXEK or EXEC. And I could do mine and mine. I could do Tony's and Tony's. I could do my other cousins and his. Like, I could do everybody's in there. So it would almost look like they were all there and did their name and shit.
Yeah. And for anyone out there who doesn't know anything about graffiti, look, we spend hours upon hours fucking writing on paper. I mean, we just sit, you know, when you're not out fucking bombing some shit, you're sitting at home, writing your name, writing your fucking boy's name, writing the other, you know, writing everybody's name out. So we learn how to write the names out. But all the names are not the same. Everyone has their own style. Everyone has a certain way of writing the names. And Yeah, when fucking you're not bombing, you're fucking sitting somewhere at somebody's pad, fucking, you know, just rewriting your shit, trying to get your fucking style down. Yeah.
Did you ever go to a writer's house? The cereal boxes are hit up. You know, the fucking the phone books hit up. Yeah. Just like everything you can. You're just sitting there practicing on because it's like smooth surfaces and shit. Like my sister would get a crib. I'd be like, "Can I have the box?" And she's like, "Yeah." And I grab that box, take it to my room, pop that thing open, hit it against the wall, and sit there and practice with it. You know, I mean, It was fun, man. I loved it.
Yeah, or sitting in class and fucking just writing on shit. Yep. You know, like everything you had. It's pretty fucking incriminating. It's pretty incriminating. Writing your name on everything you had. You write, you know, you write on your backpack, fucking, you know, your graffiti. Maybe not your graffiti name, or maybe even your graffiti name. You know. Yeah, man. It's
no, but this dude showed me. This dude showed me when I was in high school. I was sitting there one time. I'm a knucklehead. I'm in high school. It was like I was a freshman, and I was sitting there, and I had a piece of paper, and I was just sitting there practicing. And this dude was like one of the taggers, like the ones that would wear like the beads and the big pants, and you know they weren't in there for like the gangbang and shit. They weren't no part of that. They were artists. And the dude goes, "Hey man, can I show you something?" And I go, "Yeah." And he grabs my paper, and I would write shit, and I would just scratch it out real quick right after I wrote it, so you know there's no evidence. And he goes, he started scribbling in circles, and I was like, "What are you doing?" And he goes, "If you scribble in circles, they can't hold it up to the light and see what you wrote." And I was like, "What?" And then sure enough, yeah. So next thing you know, I'm in class and I'd write and I'd scribble in circles like that. And if the principal, teacher, security, anybody found any of that shit on me, you can hold it up to the light and it's just nothing but circles. You can't see shit. And I was like, "Yo, this dude's genius." I was like, "Thanks."
You know what? I used to do something similar for other things. You know, like when I wanted to hide other things from other people, you know, I would fucking, you know, little circles or squares. You know, because you know they all look the same. You make everything up.
You can't tell shit.
Yeah, you make everything a square. Yeah. What was like? Let's say, what was your favorite marker for you, and then your fucking favorite spray can tip? Let's say.
So I mean, okay. Well, number one, you're gonna back then marker. You want a mean streak. You know, you want a mean streak. You want a fat boy. We used to do this shit where we would get the fat boys and we would pop them out the back and we'd just take the filter out and you'd write with the filter. You don't even use the marker. What do you mean a
fat boy? I'm not too familiar with
the martial lots, the big fat martial lots that were like this fat.
Okay, martial lot, yeah.
And then mean streak, not mean streaks. The what was the big one? They were like jumbo something, the silver ones. Same thing. You could pop off the back and take the filter out, and then you'd have this big fat filter. And if you had a knife on you or whatever, you just chop that up and it spread out fatter. So you're writing with something that's fat. So you would spread that out. And then when you're writing, like it was like a good 2-3 time use, but you were mobbing with that shit. Damn. And then, of course, mean streaks. You remember mean streaks.
Yeah.
Splice them motherfuckers, 2 mean streaks together. You got purple and white. You got green and yellow. You got these like gorgeous colors that go with each other. I actually used to do a thing because my cousin was like, he came up with the idea because this dude, he was a genius, and nobody gave him the credit for being the genius he was. But he used to do this thing where he would mount crayons together. And I was like, you know what? And I went to my house, and I popped off a mark slot. And I took the back, or I left the back off, but I cut off the top part of it, filter out. So now it's basically a tube, and it had a cap at the bottom. So then I had this thing of foil, and I would sit there and melt crayons in it, different colors, over and over and over, a bunch of different colors till it filled up. Then I'll throw it in the freezer. About an hour later, I'd pop that shit out, pop the bottom off, slide it out, and it was a crayon in all different colors. So when you wrote, it would change colors as you were writing it. It's like a mean streak, but you didn't have to buy a mean streak. Because mean streaks back then, we could only be able to get them from LA, so they were like hard to get.
Okay.
And but those were good, but they were only good for certain things. There's only certain things you can hit up as a fucking crayon, you know. But mean streaks, mark slot, all those, the jumbos. But spray paint back then, I mean, you're talking 90s. It was like Krylon, you know. Yeah. We used to get, what was the Home Depot one? God, what was that called? I don't know, but there was a store where I lived. It was off of D Street right there, or somewhere off of D Street. Anyway, there's a little store, and it was like a general store. And the motherfucker used to sell Krylon cans for $2. So me and my cousin would go over there, and we would be like, we'll take this one, this one, this one, this one, this one. And then we used to make our own fat caps because back then, again, you'd have to get to LA to go buy softballs, basketballs, any of that kind of shit. So what we used to do is we'd get them, and we'd heat up a needle, and then when it was like hot but not steaming hot anymore, just like that perfect temperature, you poke it a little bit and get it whiter, and that was it. And then the more you went in, the fatter it was. And we would make all kinds of, and then my cousin used to do ones where he would cross them and everything and do all kinds of shit. So it would spray like at a cross and everything. And we would make our own tips. And again, it was another thing at night. It just wasn't accessible to us. In LA, sure, they had all those graffiti shops and all that. In San Bernardino, we didn't have that shit. So we had to get creative and shit. So Krylon, of course, was the best. It was the thickest. It was the cleanest. The tip sprayed the best and shit. And if we were lucky enough that somebody that had run to LA recently gave us a softball or a basketball, we used that. But if not, then we made our own and we did it that way.
Yeah, fuck, man. Yeah, that's one of the things about fucking graffiti artists, man. Fucking, you know, they get creative, man. You know, fucking putting needles in the fucking, you know, in the cap, like you said, and fucking, you know, maybe making a marker, you know, fucking 2 colors or 3 colors, you know, like you were doing and shit.
Yep.
Like, we had these things up here called Ultras. It's like a fucking white ass marker. I actually have one. I bought one. I was in San Francisco a couple of weeks, fucking a few months ago, and I saw this fucking graffiti shop. I was like, what the fuck, a graffiti shop? You know, like there was only one of those when I was growing up. There was only one of those, and that's where everybody would get their markers at. And it was in Daly City. That's all I'm gonna say. Yeah, man. You know, it's weird because we used to fucking, you know, get like a marker, whatever kind of marker, mini or an ultra with a fat, wide marker. It's about probably 2 inches of marker, right? And it's flat.
Yeah.
And we would just put, you know, different colors in it, or also a fucking, we had something up here called a pilot, you know, or whatever kind of marker, you know, we just fucking, you know, just put different colors in them and fucking, you know, fucking just do that. Yeah.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We, the same thing. I mean, whatever you can get your hands on. So, like, if you had a dad who was a carpenter, they had those carpenter pens and shit like that. If you knew somebody who worked in welding and they can get, like, the different kinds of paints and different kinds of markers they use while they're working on metals and metal shops and shit like that, that's what you fucking use, man. You get whatever you get your hands on, you fucking use it.
Yeah. Did you guys have anything called bus hopping down there?
Oh, you hang on the back of the bus and hit it up?
Not only hang, you know, like fucking, you know, you jump from bus to bus, you get a bus pass, right? You already have a bus pass because you're a fucking teenager, you going to school and home and all that shit.
Yeah.
So you fucking, you know, just go from bus to bus to bus and just fucking, you hit up on one bus inside, fucking get kicked off,
yeah,
you get chased off, and then go to the next bus. And you do that for fucking, let's say, like a whole evening or something like that, you know, and
sounds fun.
yeah, you know, fucking, I mean, people, you know, we would get chased off the bus doing that kind of shit. You know, when we get chased off outside, hit the back of the bus up. But out in San Francisco, they would have the fucking electrical wires, right? So what we would do when we would get kicked off the bus, go to the back, pop the fucking electrical wires. That way, that bus was immobile; it wasn't going anywhere. And then we would just, you know, just spend time riding on the bus while the bus driver went to the back. You know, sometimes they would go to, you know, they would fucking go back there and fix it. And when they would come back and sit on their fucking, you know, they would sit on the bus, their front windshield would be fucking tagged.
Fuck yeah, dude. That's fucking dope.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I mean, you know, look, it's vandalism, but graffiti is fun as fuck. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
it's fun as hell. Yeah, man.
It was our art.
Yeah. Okay, who was some of your favorite writers when you were fucking growing up? You were like, damn, that motherfucker is sick, man.
Well, like, so when I was talking about Hyper and Mekos and them, like, Mekos was very organized. I don't know how to say, like, he was very analytical in the way he would write. Like, if you saw a Mekos throw from the corner of your eye, you're like, Mekos. Like, you knew it. He wrote the exact same way. It was clean lines. It was beautiful and everything. And then, but Hyper, I don't know where he would get these tips. Like, maybe he'd go out to LA and buy them. But he had these huge, like, they were bigger than softballs. They were huge. and he would be able to write his name all the way up, and it would be like just huge. Like he'd take up a whole wall, just his name, and it was writing. It wasn't a throw. It wasn't a bomb. Like it was just writing. And he would just write his name all the way across, and you were like, "How the fuck did you do that?" So for me, I mean, you had your other New York writers and all those ones that were like amazing, you know, and that created it all and got everything flowing. But for me, growing up, those were my guys, like Mekos, Hyper, and all them, Sexo, because they were up everywhere, and it was gorgeous. Because like you went into other dudes that you're like, "Oh, dude, don't write on shit. You're bad. Stop writing on it." Yeah. But these dudes were they were great writers. They were awesome. And my cousin Cypher, he was supposed to go to art school and stuff like that. He was a real artist. Like he loved art, and like he would throw. He would, if he did your name, he'd put your name, and then he would draw a cat face in it, and you're like, "Oh fuck, that's a cat!" Like you were just like, "What the fuck is that?" Just out of nowhere. Just that's how his brain worked. So he was another one that for me growing up, I was always inspired by him because he always wanted to take it to the next level, or just go out of the box. Like, don't just write your name, throw this on there. Like when I would do the flower, that was something that I did try to impress him, because when I got to the end of the S, I was like, I could do an arrow, I could do whatever, I could do my quotations, I could do anything. But then I was like, dude, the name's Blooms. So I would just fly back, do a big old fat flower real quick. Yeah. And I was like, yeah, I did this shit. So he would be like, there you fucking go. And I like that push. I like that push in that artistical direction to try to make me better and try to make me really think different and really think outside the box.
Okay. Yeah, man. Fuck, man. It sounds fucking good. Bro, I'm going to have to see some of your work because I haven't seen any of your work yet. I think I haven't seen it.
Yeah, I'll send you some.
I probably.
Yeah.
You think I have?
I don't know. I know one night I was all drunk and I posted something, but I had done it on a computer real quick. And then Kurt messaged me right away and was like, you can't do anything on a computer. It has to be on paper or whatever on the wall. And I was like, oh, my bad. And then I wasn't like turned off, but I was like, writing, man. If you do it with a booger, it's man, fucking art, you know. But I was like, all right, cool, whatever. And then so after that, then I threw a couple other ones on there, and then my son throws a bunch on there because my son, I got him into the same shit, and he's like way better than me, way better than me. And he throws his shit on there every once in a while.
I don't know if you can see that shit. I mean,
yeah, it's fucking sexy. I love it.
It's just whatever. It's my name, Carlos. You know what I'm saying? I'm just fucking writing on there. Yeah. You know, this was one of the ones that was on Facebook. That was going on Facebook. They were like right on the fucking, right on the spray can, and I fucking wrote on the spray can, and whatever. It's the same shit, bro. You wrote on the computer. You know what I'm saying? Writing is writing, like you said. You know?
Yeah. That's why I looked at it. But that was like 4 years ago or something. Like, I don't even remember how long ago. That was a while. And I've done more. And like, I send a bunch to Kurt. Like, I'll just send him shit randomly and everything. Like, especially, you know how we are. Like, you're sitting there, you're drinking, you're listening to music. Everybody goes to bed. You're just sitting there writing. Next thing you know, you're like, I gotta send this to homie and shit. So I'll send them shit like that randomly in the middle of the night. But I'll send you some shit too next time I do it.
Yeah, fuck yeah, man. I mean, you know what? If you have anything, fucking send it to me so I can fucking post it up on this fucking, video. Yeah, Kurt was on here, and he fucking told me a crazy. He was on here and told me a fucking crazy ass story about him fucking running from the cops. Fucking nuts. I mean, this guy's running all through his fucking city. It seems like he's running all through the fucking city trying to get away from these fucking cops. Yeah. And they fucking caught him at the end, Yeah.
That's the worst.
Yeah. You know what? I think the first time I got arrested, bro, like it wasn't even like I wasn't even doing this shit a year, bro. I was doing like maybe a few months. I was dumb. I was like, I'm gonna write on this fucking wall. I didn't know anything about cameras, and they fucking, the fucking camera caught me. They called the cops, and I wasn't even in my city, bro. I was like 15 years old at the most. Yeah, and I had only been writing like about a year, and I got fucking caught right away. And after that, I was like, okay, I gotta be smarter about this. But I was a dumb kid, I was heavily influenced by, just shady individuals and the dummies. You know what I'm saying? So like, okay, I got a little different. Yeah. What do you?
Yeah, well, there was a. Huh?
I was gonna ask you.
But
I think I saw you pour something. What did you pour now?
I was actually going to show you that shit.
Okay.
I don't know how the lighting is. Can you see that? Let's see if I get closer.
There it is. Yeah, you know what?
Here, hold on.
I've seen that can before. What the is that shit sick as yeah. You know what?
So Oso, okay?
Uh
Oso shit is their barrel aged shit is ridiculous. But this is a double barrel aged black barley wine aged in cognac and rye barrels. So this is actually one of my favorite beers out here. So Oso, their barrel aging program is ridiculous.
Okay,
it's
so
bomb.
So is that like a fucking a stout or what is that?
It's a barley wine.
A
barley wines are.
I don't know what the fuck that is, bro. I don't know what that is.
So I would have to actually look into how they're made.
Tell me, I'm right here, 2 feet away. Keep telling me. I like it though. It's nice.
Yeah. So
keep talking.
Barley wines are made completely different. I'm not 100% sure on positive on the process, but they're completely different. They're not. Let me see if I. There we go. So, can you see that better? Yeah, they're made. There's a certain way they do the barley that's completely different. A friend of mine makes me a bunch of barley wines and send them to me. I'd have to ask him exactly how he does it. But this is a barley wine that they actually age in a bunch of different barrels. So when you do that too, when you barrel age them in different barrels, you get different notes. So you'll end up with, what is this? So you're gonna get cognac, which God, I love it. That shit burns. And then a nice rye, so you get that bourbon flavor. This one is, out of all the beers out here, this is one of my favorites because I love barley wines. I fucking love them. A barrel aged barley wine. Have you ever had one?
I've never had one, bro. Man, you're talking about this shit like it's so fucking good. I gotta fucking try one, man. Damn.
You gotta try it. I love barley wines. What are you drinking? Let me see. West Coast?
Yeah, it's probably a West Coast IPA. It's by Device. I don't know if you've ever heard of Device. They're out of Sacramento.
Nah.
It's called Integral India Pale Ale. And it smells fucking good. My wife got it for me today. She went over to the fucking, she was at work, and when she's at work, she shoots over to the brewery real quick, which is about like less than 5 minutes, about 5 minutes away. And she fucking.
See that color?
What's up?
Oh, that's pretty right there. I want to see that color. Yeah, I love West Coast IPAs. I love them. Yeah,
and she shot over there real quick, picked me up a little. It's a 6-pack because they're the little 12-ounce cans. So a little 6-pack, of that. And also she picked up a lager by Device. It's called Crispy by Device. I haven't tried it yet. Like if it was up to me, I wouldn't have got a lager. It depends though, because I don't really fuck around with them unless I'm fucking drinking like a Modelo and a fucking whatever, right?
Yeah, totally.
But I know that Marcus, Brewery 602, he fucking pulled out this one that he said it smells like horchata, tastes like horchata. It's this crazy one. It's crazy, bro. Yeah. This smells good as hell, though. I haven't even tried it. I've never tried this one before.
Dude, Marcus is cool as fuck. So I met that dude. It had to be one of like the beer groups. I don't remember which one or how, but I remember he homebrews. And he brews with a bunch of dudes and shit like that. And they were doing a little release and shit. And he hit me up and he was like, roll through. I got you. And I was like, cool. So I met him at a place in Tempe and hooked me up with a bunch of different beers he wanted me to try. Then I met the other dudes from that home brewing association. Every one of them cool as fuck, just a bunch of cool, chill dudes and shit. And ever since then, Marcus, like, I talk to him all the time. And like that dude's just cool as fucking shit. I dig him. I mean, again, he's a dude who could have been like I'm not gonna name the name, but there's a brewery out here, and they're home brewers, and they're really fucking good. Like they're really fucking good. They should really have their own spot. But anyway, these fuckers, I met them one day, and I'm like, I told you my background. I don't dig like anybody who thinks their shit don't stink. Like I just don't dig that shit. Like, dude, be humble. You're here, you're right now, you're breathing, be grateful, be humble, don't be a piece of shit. But I was standing there And I told the dude, I go, oh, you're from, there's and that. I was like, yeah, I heard about you guys. I heard you're really good. He just looks at me and goes, he's like, I don't have anything to give you. If I did, I would. Next time, though, remind me and I'll bring you something. And I go, oh, I didn't ask for shit, dude. And he goes, no. Just next time, and I'll get you. I go, again, I'm not fanboying on you, I was just saying, like, I heard of you guys. Like, I never ran into you, whatever. And he goes, okay. And, like, he started feeling like an asshole. And he was like, but no, seriously, next time, let me know. I'll bring you something. And I was like, cool, man. And after that, I was just done. Like, I was just like, dude, don't do that to me. Like, I don't give a fuck who you are. Like, there's a billion breweries around here.
At least he kind of caught the error of his way.
He did.
So
he did.
But I feel you, though. I feel you, like, yeah, I got you, man. Yeah.
Yeah. And hey, I just,
hold on. Let me tell you something. Basilio, let me tell you something.
Yeah.
I dig your fucking picture, man. And I've always looked at your fucking. This is gonna sound fucking weird, okay? No homo, no, yeah. No. But like, that picture that you have where you're fucking like drinking like this, you know which one, right? The one you have on your Facebook.
Yeah, like my main photo.
Yeah, I've been looking at that picture. I'm like, I want to talk to that motherfucker right there. I want to talk to that dude because, like once, I wanted to, talk to writers because I saw you in that writing community. So I was like, yeah. Since I have, a background in writing, I was like, I want to talk to more writers, like, I want to hear the fucking crazy stories because we all have crazy stories of fucking running away from cops, fucking writing on some shit, fucking running away from gangsters that are fucking chasing us, fucking 30 deep, 40 deep, all that shit.
You hit up the wrong wall.
Wrong wall, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, so, I was like, I want to talk to that motherfucker right there. I was like,
you did.
I want to hear what he had to say, but then I was like, I felt kind of weird. I was like, man, how do I fucking approach this dude? You know what I mean? Like, hey, bro, what's up, dude? Can you, like, come on my channel and fucking talk about it? But you were cool as fuck, bro. So I appreciate that, man. I really do. I really appreciate you coming on and fucking.
Oh, dude, I'm having a fucking blast. I'm enjoying beers with you and shit. We're just talking about writing and shit. And dude, I mean, what's better than that?
Yeah. So back to Marcus.
Anytime, if you want to do another one, let me know. We can do another one too.
Yeah. Back to Marcus, right? He's cool as fuck, bro. He's cool as fuck. I already told this story. Like, I have a little fucking video of how I fucked him by accident because I was so new to the fucking craft beer community. I thought that all fucking craft beer was the fucking same. I was like, oh, it's a small brewery. They're all going to be fucking good. You know what I'm saying? So me and him, we did a fucking beer exchange. And he sent me all this fucking bomb-ass beer from fucking Arizona. And that's how I know that Arizona is the shit when it comes to the fucking beer, right?
Yeah.
And I sent him all this fucking bullshit from out here. Not all. Because, hey.
Yeah. Look, hey, man, it happens.
Hey, look. Because he asked for a Pliny the Elder. I got him that. But then I also saw this one in your fridge when you sent me the picture or the video of what you have in your fridge.
Yeah.
The Fort Rock. I wasn't thinking the Fort Rock. The purple.
Oh, yeah.
I wasn't thinking that one. I sent him 2 of those. I was like, I'm going to send him 2 of those. And I'm going to send him 2 Big Sexies by, these 2 cans by Big Sexy. And bro, I tried these later on. I was like, holy shit. I was like, I can't believe I sent him this shit. I was like, this shit's horrible. I was personally, I wasn't digging the shit that I sent him. So I thought, yeah, dude, like, I got to get him back. He had this one thing on his channel. He has a YouTube channel, right? And on his YouTube channel, he was doing like a giveaway where he was making a fucking, a IPA or an ale, or I forgot what it was, but it had like empanada in it, like a fucking like a Mexican empanada in it. And he was putting chunks of it inside the brew. And I was one of the people that commented, so he fucking sent it to me, dude. That shit was fucking tastes like an empanada. It had the fucking hints of what do you call
cinnamon and shit?
The cinnamon. The fucking pumpkin, I was like, this shit's hella good. So I know that Marcus is hella good. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to Marcus.
Yeah.
I really like that dude. I really do, man.
Cool as fuck, man. I like that guy.
Yeah. How far are you from?
Like what? Pretty far. He's out in, I believe, Mesa, and I'm in North Phoenix. So that's like depending, because I know when I met him in Tempe. I want to say it's depending on what part of Mesa he's in. It's anywhere between 40 minutes to an hour, I guess. It's not close, you know. It's way the fuck out there, but
yeah.
But he's cool as fuck. That dude's like when I met him that day at the thing, he could have easily been like, "Oh, you came. Here you go. Try these out," and then like ignored me. He pulled a stool up. He was chopping up with me and my wife. He was talking about the beers they do. He started like, "Oh, you got to meet this guy. Got to meet that guy," and like they were just all so chill and cool and shit. And ever since then, to this day, like I still chop it up with him here or there, whatever about whatever. And cool fucking guy, man. I like him.
Yeah. Hey, so I was looking at your Instagram, and on your Instagram, you have pictures of fucking out here in San Francisco. Or I'm from San Francisco and Daly City, you know, but I see pictures of you out there, bro. What were you doing out there?
All right, so summer out here sucks. I'm sure you know. It gets like today was 111, okay, and we're barely in fucking like the beginning of June or what is it, May? I don't even fucking know because of this shit. But anyways, come about August, July, August, somewhere around there, we die out in the industry I'm in because ain't nobody coming out here for vacation. Fuck no, they're staying at home. You know, nobody's holding conferences in Arizona in summer. They would never do that to their people. So what happens is normally I'll pick up work at another resort somewhere else, and I'll go work I'll go to Utah, California. I almost went to Chicago this last time. The same time I went to there, I almost went to Chicago, but I got hit up by a resort in Half Moon Bay. So when I got that one, I was like, sign me up. And then they were like, oh, really? And they were like, yeah, we'll get you out here right now. So I flew out there. They put me up in the hotel. And you'll dig this shit. This shit was pretty cool. I show up, I come walking in and everything, and I'm purposely, I'm not fucking stupid. My suitcase, I took almost nothing. My carry-on was like bulging. It was going to blow up. But my fucking suitcase was almost empty because I was bringing back fucking beer. That was the whole reason I wanted to go up there. I'm bringing back fucking beer. So I show up at the hotel. They send me up to this lounge, and they give me this card. You're like a VIP because you work here. And they put me in a room, and every night when I would get done, I would go straight up to that lounge, eat a little something, and then they would give me a 6-pack of beer. And it was Lagunitas IPA, but who gives a fuck, you know? And then I would go to my room, and I would drink a fucking 6-pack of beer and crash out. Like, it was dope. And then I'd go back down first thing in the morning and go to work, and I'd work all fucking day and night. And then I'd go up there real quick, chill and shit. And then actually there's a chef that I know really well. He's like a world famous chef. He showed up out there, and I was like, fuck yeah, dude. And then next, you know, I went in. Huh?
Who is it?
I can't say.
Okay.
But that's what I don't want to throw a name.
Okay.
Dude is the chillest fucking awesome dude. He's from England. He's like fucking just, I love this fucking guy. But he showed up, and I was like, oh my God, yes. And I knew he was coming out because he hit me up. He was like, hey, are you in Half Moon Bay? And I was like, yeah. He's like, dude, I just got to sign up for the same thing. I'm coming out there. I was like, yes. So I picked up beer before he showed up. I went into town, and they had a bunch of shit there. They had a bunch of like Revision, and they had a bunch of, you know, Pliny and shit like that. And so when he showed up, we were just chugging beers and hanging out. And on my last night there, I had went to San Francisco. So one day I went to, is this Santa Rosa? Is that what it is? I think that's the one that's a little south, right?
Santa Rosa.
No, is it? Okay, so no, it's south of San Francisco. It's south where the Fieldworks is down there.
Pacifica? Millbrae?
Maybe. It was down there where the Fieldworks is. And
Pacifica. I
went down
or
probably.
Okay. Yeah.
So we went down there, me and this other chef, and we went to Fieldworks, and we went to God, it was a really good spot. I have it on my Instagram too, but went to this other spot, picked up a bunch of beer and shit like that, and then went back to the hotel and had all this beer stacked up and shit. We were just like, every night we would go up to either my room or his room. We would just fucking try different beers and shit like that. And then the day before I was going to leave, we went to San Francisco. Now, at San Francisco, I went to, God, what was that one called? I went to 3 different places that my friend sent me to, and they were all great, but City Beer Shop was by far the fucking best. Great selection. They were cool as fuck, just chill. Their tap list was ridiculous. Like, I was like, oh my God, because if somebody were from San Francisco to come down to Arizona, they can go to Wandering Tortoise and be like, oh my God, this is insane. But for me, I see that every day. To see theirs was insane to me. So I was just like, oh my God, you got this on tap. You got, Moxa, you got fucking Ghost Town, you got fucking Pliny, you got all this shit. So it was fucking awesome. But the other one I went to, God damn it, what was it called? It wasn't that Fox one. It was, anyways, this other one that's on my Instagram too. They were fucking rude. The dude was like leaned up against the counter and didn't want to talk to you. And every time like I'd order something, he's like, all right. Like he was just like, not, and I was like, dude, if you don't love this, get out of this shit. You need to be somebody who fucking loves this shit. Where you're like, you know what? I like, barrel-aged stouts. I want something that's more caramel. And be like, oh, I got it. I know exactly what you want. I'll take care of you. If you're not that passionate, get the fuck out of this shit. But at City, that dude in the bottle shop area, he was fucking killer. He was awesome. He was dope. Went up to the front area where the tap is. The girl behind there was fucking dope. She was like, oh, you gotta try this. And like they'll give you like little drinks and shit. And you're like, oh, let me get that shit, And it was a blast, dude. We were up there I was up there for a month. But you have to understand, me, work is pretty much 90% of my life. So I was up there for a month and some many days, whatever. And I only had 2 days off the entire time. One was the day I went down to whatever that lower city was. And then the other day was the day before I left when I went to San Francisco. It was the only time I had time off.
Wow. Okay. Damn. That's
the other days I was working like 16-hour days and shit.
That's crazy. Wow. Let me ask you something. 2 things. What was the name of that place that you went to again? That you really liked?
City Beer Company.
City Beer Company. Okay. And then the next question is, do you have kids? Are you married and all that?
Oh yeah. So I have 2 kids from a previous marriage, and then I met a girl. She had 2 kids from a previous marriage. Then we got married, and then we raised all our kids together. Oh. And so we're like Brady Bunch in it. But then we had a kid together, so we have one conjoined kid. But like, I'm their dad, she's their mom. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Like, we raised our kids, we love our kids, and it's dope. Like, through her, even if me and her don't make it, I'm blessed to have my sons, and I'm grateful to have my sons. Like, I'm so stoked that I met her just to have my sons.
That's what's up, bro. That's lovely as fuck, man. That's what's up, Basilio. So yeah, because I was gonna ask you, I was like, because fucking working 15-hour days, you can only do that. You can only fucking do that when you're fucking out and about. When I used to truck over the road, sometimes I was, like, all the time. Of course, if you're out over the road, you have to fucking like stay in different cities, different cities all the time. But once I came home and I did the home dad stuff and all that, once in a while I would fucking pick up a gig that was in another city, and I would have to stay over there overnight and fucking work all day. But yeah, man. So that's why I was asking about the whole if you had kids, because fucking working 15 hours a day, man. That's insane, man. That's crazy. But yeah, man. I'm glad you were. I'm glad you were able to fucking make it out to fucking Half Moon Bay and all that, because I love Half Moon Bay. It's not that far from where I used to live. I'm from San Francisco.
Yeah.
Where I grew up until like my teen years, like 16 years old, from like 7 to 16, and then after that I moved over to Daly City, but I still went to school. So Pacifica and Half Moon Bay is just a little south for me. It's like 20 minutes, 30 minutes. Yeah. So it's fucking beautiful out there. So you got to stay in like a real nice place. The ocean was like right there, you know what I'm saying? So that's what's up. Basilio, bro.
What about you? You got a wife and kids or what?
I do, bro. I have fucking I got a wife. I got I got a cat. Hold on. 1, 2, 4. I got 4 kids, bro. I got 4 kids, and
Yeah.
you know, we've been through our ups and downs. You know, I've had my ups and downs in my personal life. You know what I'm saying? I've lived a stupid life. You know what I'm saying? But I'm here. You know what I'm saying? I'm here, and you know, thanks to the universe, I'm here, and I'm doing it. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, finally got a house. Finally, you know, got some
Awesome.
cars, you know, finally got some shit, and we're doing that, man. You know, I got a steady job where I could support my family. You feel me? That's it, bro. You know, that stupid little ass kid growing up in the Mission, like in the Mission in San Francisco, is like where the you know the shit happened. You know, shit happens. Growing up kind of like you did. You know what I'm saying? In Santa Barbara. So, you know, yeah, bro. Fucking hey. That's sick as fuck, man. You have any questions for me? You know, because I don't want to leave you hanging. Like,
Nah, I mean, I was wondering if you had a family and all that shit and everything. Well, where are you? So you're born and raised in San Francisco.
No.
And you live what area right now?
You know what? I am from El Salvador. So when I was
oh, okay.
So when I was 7 years old, I came here with my my mom brought me. She left us in El Salvador. She left us in El Salvador when she came here. I was 5 at the time. She left, and then 2 years later, she fucking petitioned us. She petitioned us to come over here, and we came up here, and we lived in San Francisco in the Mission District. The Mission District is where like a big, huge Latino population is that. You know what I'm saying? And so we came up here, and then I lived in San Francisco until. Look, I lived in San Francisco until I was about 16 years old. From 16 until like whenever I lived in Daly City. But I only slept in Daly City. I lived in San Francisco because everything I did was in San Francisco. You know, I had to go fucking work, San Francisco. Do whatever the fuck I had to do, San Francisco. Yeah. One final question for you, bro. One final question.
Yeah, ask me.
When was the last time you fucking hit something up?
Okay. So this must have been this is the last time I'm gonna admit about, but I would say probably about 8 years ago, if that long. That can't be because I've been with my wife longer than that. But after my brother died, his name
that you're willing to admit. That you're willing to admit.
Yeah. So my brother's name, I got it right here, is Wax, and because his name was Aaron, and or his name is Aaron, and do you remember the movie Menace to Society?
Mm-hmm.
There was a character on there, AWAX, and as the joke, because my brother was a fucking nerd, we used to call him AWAX, like he was a little gangster and shit, because AWAX was the most gangster dude on Menace to Society. His name was Aaron A, and we call him AWAX. So as he got older, his name was just Wax, like we just always call him Wax, like yo Wax, what's up? And we just called him Wax. So when he died, and I was out here, I think it might have been when I came back from Oregon. Every time I was out at a bar or anywhere, I pop out a marker in the bathroom, and I'd write Wax 84 on everything. And I was just mobbing everywhere, hitting up Wax 84 everywhere I went. And I was doing that for a minute and shit, and then I kind of just stopped because I was like, yeah, I don't want to get caught for this. I'm an adult now. I have too much to lose. Like I can't go to jail and pay a $1,000 fine over this shit right now. Like it's stupid. So, well, not stupid, but it's not something that I want. You know, I can fit in my life right now. So I stopped. But I think that was the last time I'm willing to admit that I hit up.
Yeah.
You know, I can say that because I hit up for a good cause or whatever. You know.
Yeah. You know what? You don't need that kind of drama in your life. Yeah. Like I was telling you earlier, you know, fucking a few months ago, maybe. Fuck it was almost maybe 6 months ago. I was in San Francisco and I saw a fucking marker shop or a fucking graffiti shop, and I saw these fucking markers and I was like, fuck. But look, you can get markers on Amazon for any writers that are out there. You know, you can get them on Amazon. You know, but I was in Frisco and I was like, oh, a fucking graffiti shop. Let me go up in here real quick. And I was geeking. I was like, oh, that's a fucking this. I was like, who owns this shop? Who owns it? I was talking to people like I fucking knew the motherfucker. You know, I didn't know him.
Yeah.
I was in there geeking out, bro. I was like, I'll take that one. I'll take that one. I was like, fucking give it to me. You know, I'm gonna buy these shirts with graffiti on them, nerding out, bro, just geeking out. You know what I mean? So it is. Yeah. So, like sometimes as an adult, you want to relive your fucking youth. You know what I'm saying? Like the shit you did.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But
oh yeah.
Basilio, man, I don't know how long we've done. It doesn't even matter how long we've done, bro. I really do appreciate you fucking chopping it up with me, fucking coming on here, telling, you know, some fucking crazy fucking stories, groovy fucking stories, cool ass stories. I really do, man. I appreciate it. So, Basilio, do you want to give a shout out to anyone? Before that, shout out to your bro. All right, I don't even know him, but he means something to you. And this is one of my the things that I believe in is like, if something means something to someone, it means something to me too. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to your bro, man. And you know,
thank you.
You know, so you want to go ahead and give a shout out to anyone, man? Fucking anything. You can say whatever the fuck you want to say.
Yeah, well, one, I want to give a shout out to my wife, holding it down, putting up with my bullshit, not sweating me as much as she should. Her Instagram is fuck, she just changed it because it used to be the Lopez movement, but she does like all kinds of makeup stuff on there and everything. But either way, give a shout out to my boy Mark at Blue Pint. That's my motherfucking dude. That's my little brother. I love that fucking guy. Thank you for everything. He's most just generous, just 100 dude. Like you ever talk to a guy, he will not bullshit you, hit you 100 every fucking time. To Cypher One, my cousin out in California, love that motherfucker. Shout out to you. Thank you for having me on here and shit. Fucking shit was a blast. Just drinking beers, talking about all this shit. And again, if you want to do this again, just hit me up, man. I got some other stories that are pretty fucking wild and shit. So if you want to go over it and like, let's have some beers and talk about this shit again, dude.
Yeah, you know what? I'm down. I'm down. El Hapo 1, Basilio. I'm really down.
Okay.
So check this out. Shoot me all those links if you want to. Like shoot them over to me, and I'll post them in the description below so that people can check it out. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Yeah. Fucking shoot them over to me. So one last time, Basilio, bro, to you, man. I swear to God, bro, you cool motherfucker, bro. Shout out to you, my dude.
Cheers.
Shout out to you.
Cheers.
And shout out to everybody out there, man. You know, this is just like, this is the beer experience where motherfuckers come to drink if they want to, you know, because I've had some serious discussions on it. I had some serious discussions about everything. So the beer experience 360, that means talk about everything. And
fuck yeah,
we're just hanging out. So thank you everybody for watching, and fucking shout out to you. Thank you.
You too, man.